From selling LA to selling Miami, I'm here in Brickell and I'm going to meet a good friend of mine. She's also a real estate agent in Chicago. Hi. Two kisses.
Yeah, 2 kisses, Persian way.
Welcome to Brickell.
Thank you. I love the sun.
I know, right? How cold is it in Chicago right now?
Right now, it's like 19 degrees. It is
Oh my
freezing,
God, I
I'm
can't.
so happy to be here.
This is why a lot of actually people from Chicago move into Miami because obviously the weather is amazing.
Yeah, a lot of my clients are actually moving here too. So,
Really?
yes.
So I want to talk to you about Brickell a little bit and compare it to Chicago because I've been to Chicago many times. I love the city. So when I see Brickell, sometimes actually it reminds me a little bit of Chicago.
Does it?
Yeah, like downtown, all the tall buildings and the high rises.
Well, Chicago, first of all, is a lot colder. You have your tropical trees all around
Yes.
here. We don't have that in Chicago, unfortunately. But the tall buildings, I see what you're saying. We have a lot of newer buildings too, which resemble these buildings.
Yeah.
We just got the St. Regis.
Oh wow, we have a St. Regis actually right here literally in Old Brickell, and it's a beautiful, beautiful project. It's gonna be amazing. Actually, price per square foot starts around 1,800, something like that. So what's the St. Regis in Chicago is going for? Just curious.
So prices are very different in Chicago. You get a lot more for your money.
Yeah.
St. Regis right now is one of the hottest buildings, and it is less than 1,000 a square foot right now.
Wow. So we do see condos in Brickell, obviously, that trade for less than 1,000 per foot, but also they are a little bit older buildings, so it really depends. I will say the new construction, like the Baccarat, Cipriani, St. Regis, which is located in Old Brickell, a couple of other like nice pre-construction that's going to come around 2027, their price per square foot starting at like 1,500.
That is amazing. I can't wait for Chicago to get to those prices, but we just don't have them right now.
And also, actually, like Echo, they just closed the penthouse there. They traded, I want to say, around 2,800 per square foot, which is very, very high. Like this is like price, what is it, record price? Record breaking, record breaking.
Yeah.
So no, Brickell is great. You have a lot of people who are living here and work here because it's considered a financial hub.
Okay.
And you are like 20 minutes from Coral Gables, Coconut Grove, and about 25 to 30 minutes to Miami Beach.
Okay.
So it's very
centrally located.
Centrally, yeah.
I love it here because you can just walk to everything.
Yes.
Which is so nice.
You have a lot of restaurants here. You have coffee shops. You have a beautiful like shopping center, Brickell City Center.
I was there, yeah.
Yeah, so it's just so much to do and it feels safe. So I personally love Brickell.
So a lot of people from Chicago are moving
Including Ken Griffin.
Including Ken Griffin are moving to Miami. So tell me about some of these buildings.
Yes.
Because I know there's a lot of new ones.
Yes. Actually, we're in the kind of like in an interesting intersection. So we have Cipriani behind us, obviously the Cipriani brand. It's going to be a beautiful building, like nice finishes. Going to be ready, I want to say 2026, hopefully with Miami time, maybe 2027. I don't know, we'll see before. Then you have 1428 right behind you.
I've gotten emails about this one.
Oh yeah, it's another great project. Beautiful finishes, very high end. And then we have Aura by Casatua right there.
Okay.
So that's going to be the Casatua brand.
Dolce & Gabbana.
Dolce & Gabbana is going to be right there in the middle. So you have Baccarat, you have Dolce & Gabbana, you have Cipriani. And speaking of Chicago, I mean, Ken Griffin, he owns the land right down the street.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's supposed to develop for his office building, but I don't know what's going to happen with that. But he's clearly like a big fan of Miami. He actually owns a big house down the street from us, maybe like 7 minutes drive.
Yeah.
But it's really nice to see like what's been going on in Miami in the last few years, and especially Brickell. We have so many like great buildings, great restaurants, just a nice lifestyle.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for it. So obviously we talk about price per square foot. What are the good buildings that you guys have in Chicago?
Oh, we have a lot, but we're focusing on like the last 5 to 6 years. You know, we have, if you're looking in West Loop, you have the Embry, which is amazing. It's one of my favorite buildings. You have the St. Regis, which that was built in 2020. And it's one of the hottest buildings right now in Chicago. Okay. They opened up 2 beautiful restaurants and the hotel right next to it. And then you do have the Tribune Tower, which was completely got rehabbed into condos. And that one is very iconic.
Now, you know, with Miami, we have the buildings and we also have obviously HOA fees. So what are the HOA fees per square foot in Chicago? Because here, in the last couple of years, it really went up and it changed a lot. I remember when I first moved here, HOA fees were around 70 cents to $1 per square foot. And now we are talking about $1 to $2 per square foot easily. Our insurance went up, so the HOA fees went up. And it came to a point that a lot of people just cannot afford living here because between the property taxes and HOA fees, it's a lot.
Yeah.
So what's your...
So we don't measure it by dollar per square foot for amenities and HOAs. It is mostly based upon how old the building is and how much it takes to maintain that building. So I will say the newer construction buildings with more units, because you get to spread the HOAs across that. So those buildings are going to have less of an HOA cost versus a smaller building or something that was built in 1970 where you have to redo the elevators, you have to redo the exteriors. Those are a lot more. And then you have the co-ops, you know, which are considerably a lot more.
Here we actually really don't have co-ops.
They're beautiful, they're beautiful.
I cannot imagine those selling a co-op. I feel like it's gonna be so hard, right? The board has to approve and this. But then again, you know who you're getting into the building, so it's a bit maybe more like secured? I don't know.
And it's vintage. It's the quality of the construction. It is just vintage. It is beautiful. If you like that style versus like a St. Regis brand new, you know, European look,
I guess.
Yeah, floor to ceiling windows, all of that, views. Okay, so you were on Selling Sunset LA.
What is it? I'm kidding, I'm kidding.
What made you move from LA to Miami? And how has it been with the transition?
So we moved because my husband got a job here. He's in finance. And I remember when we moved, I was like, Miami is so underrated compared to LA and so affordable compared to LA.
It's more affordable than LA.
Back then when we moved.
Got it.
Obviously things changed and then now it's not really affordable. It just became expensive. For instance, I'll give you an example. The building that we are looking at right now used to be SLS, now it's called 1300 South Miami Residences.
Okay.
So you could get a 2-bedroom there, plus a den with an amazing view, like ocean view, for I want to say 600,000, 2-bedroom, like about 1,200 square feet. Now the same condo is 900,000. So just to show you, you could find an amazing 1-bedroom here in Brickell, high floor, great views for like 400,000. Now you can barely find a studio for that. So I feel like Miami finally got the respect that she should have, because you have all these brand new buildings, they're all beautiful, amazing amenities, but the prices were just too low.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see how everything changes through the years since I moved here, and how all of a sudden you have more restaurants, more, you know, you have all these like restaurant groups from New York and LA, they're opening stuff here. You have new like beautiful real estate brands, like we mentioned, like the Cipriani, Baccarat. So it's nice to see all these luxury coming to the city. And obviously Brickell is just one example, but we have great other pockets here that depending on your lifestyle that you can, you know, experience living in, because there are just so much to do.
How far is Miami Beach?
So Miami Beach will be this way.
Okay.
About, I want to say 25 to 30 minutes with no traffic. We don't really have too much traffic here. Then Coconut Grove will be more south, but like maybe 15 minutes away.
Okay.
Then you have Design District, which is like maybe 20 minutes from here. You have Edgewater, you have Midtown. And there are, by the way, a lot of new construction around those areas as well. But it's just nice to see what's going on in the city.
Yeah.
And how it's just growing.
Yeah.
And obviously, look, Miami, it's not for everyone. I personally love it. I always feel like I'm on vacation here.
Yeah.
Even though I work a lot, you know, the ocean is just beautiful.
Yeah, that's lovely.
How is the market in Chicago right now? What do you see? Is the city like struggling? Is it coming back? What do you think?
So it's not like Miami right now, where everyone's, you know, dying to come here and living here and pushing price points up. In the city is what I'm talking about, not suburbs or anything like that. So during COVID, what had happened is everyone moved out to the suburbs. Now they're being required to come back into the office.
The party is over, back in the office.
Exactly. So with that, all those people now have a 2-hour commute into the city.
Yeah.
So they are buying. And I do think the city's coming back.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we've had our tough times in the city. But I do really think that it's going to be optimistic going forward.
Yeah.
So I think the best time is to buy now. And then when everything comes back, your values will come up.
Let's say if I want to buy a 2-bedroom condo in Chicago in a nice building, what would I expect to pay?
It depends on what building, what area,
Yeah.
you know, so if you want to be in the highest, you know, caliber building, it's going to be 1,000 a square foot.
Yeah.
So if that helps.
Yeah.
If you want to be in like a really nice building that doesn't have the high cachet, you know, you're looking at between 500 to 800 a square foot.
We just have to have a big jacket and a coat and be ready for
a beanie, boots,
and 90 degrees weather. But I think still the city is beautiful in Chicago. So,
and it's only 4 months out of the year that you suffer.
Listen, the ideal is you come to Miami from, let's say, October to May.
Yeah.
And then May to September, you go to Chicago.
There you go. I think that's a great plan. So a number of people are buying in new developments in Miami, and I know it's a lot different than it is in Chicago. What is the process? I know some of these aren't even going to be ready until 2026 or 2027.
Yeah, you have to really be patient.
Okay.
So here in Miami, basically they sell you the project, right, based on renderings. And what you do is you usually pay 10 to 20% when you sign the contract, 10% a couple of months later, then another 10% when the building is top off, and then a few months later, another 10%. So bottom line is you have to come with like 40 to 50% down.
Okay, wow. Okay.
Before the project is done. Then when the project is done, you bring in the rest of your 50 or 60%. So this is how it's done here. The reason is, long time ago when Miami had a crisis, it was only, I think, 10% down.
That's what it is in Chicago.
But then 10%. People bailed on the contracts. So then the developer got stuck. And then you had a lot of units just kind of like, it was just a mess. It was the wild, wild west. So now it's like 40%. So if you lose your deposit, it's a lot more chunkier than, even 10% is chunkier on a $3 million condo. But,
right, exactly.
But yeah, that's kind of like the deal is. So wow, 10% in Chicago, that's insane.
Yeah. When you moved from LA, from the Oppenheim Group, you moved to Miami. What made you join Compass?
I love Compass. You know, we have such a great network around, you know, the country, right? Mm-hmm. So it's very good to establish relationship with different agents and obviously work those referrals. So if I have a client that want to buy a condo in Chicago,
hopefully they will.
Exactly. I know who to call. Yeah. So I think it's like the marketing and the branding and really like good culture. So it's a great company to meet other agents and get business done.
So basically, if you're moving anywhere, you can call one of us.
Yeah,
we can get you a really great agent.
We can introduce you anywhere, anywhere in the US. Frankly, anywhere in the world now that Compass
is global.
Acquired Christie's. Yep. Mm-hmm. I know you mentioned that you are a foodie. What's your favorite place to go in Chicago?
So aside from being a real estate broker, I try to get to every single restaurant that I can just to try it. You know, some are club-restaurants where it's like you're there for the scene.
The ambience.
Yes. And then the others are staples in Chicago that just have really good food. And there's some really some restaurants that just opened up.
Like which ones?
I loved Bracero. Well, the staple you have to go to, well, I would take you, you know this. I'll take you to all the best ones. But you have, as a staple, Bavette's is amazing. Trivoli Tavern is amazing. I love Le Colonial. It's in the Gold Coast.
Okay.
It's Vietnamese French. Again, another staple. Then you have the new restaurants, Tredita, Miru. Beautiful ambiance, and the food is good too.
I mean, Brickell has so many restaurants, like a lot. Actually, we have Komodo right behind us.
Yes.
Amazing, amazing food. We have Mamo, which is Italian. I was there on Friday. And I was there on Friday. It's like right there. Yeah. You have Get Go. You have Cipriani right on the street. You just like the open places. You have Zizi's, which is major food groups. They open so many places in here, and it's just nice that there is always something to do. Like it never gets old.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with Chicago. There's a new restaurant opening up every other week.
Yeah.
But I do have to tell you, I went to Sparrow Italia 2 nights ago. Amazing.
And I heard you went to Mila. I was in Mila last week, but that's in Miami
Nobody
Beach.
needs to know that.
Yeah, Mila is like, it's a club restaurant, right? It's like the ambiance and club-restaurant.
So what do you see for 2025 in Miami?
So 2025, I mean, look, I think what we experienced in COVID days when everything just sold in a day, those days are definitely long gone, right? Long gone. And but Miami is stable. I still see a lot of transactions. If places are priced well, they're going to move. And Brickell especially attracts a lot of like professionals. It's a great walkability little city within Miami.
I love Brickell personally.
It's amazing.
I love it.
It's amazing. So I think it's going to be stable. I think it's actually going to be good.
Okay.
We just need a couple of sellers to come down, because I think that's the problem we experience, at least here in the market, that sellers are kind of like missed the COVID train, you know, with the prices.
Yeah.
But I think once buyers are realize, okay, the rate, it is what it is. Sellers are like, hey, we missed, you know, the COVID days of, you know, price
Getting
increase.
tougher, yeah.
And everything is stable. Things will be good. What about Chicago? What do you think?
So I think it's going to be a little different in Chicago. I think 2025 is going to be crazy. Right now, there's so much pent-up demand, and people were waiting for interest rates to come down and to come down. They've come down just a little bit, but they always wait for spring market. And there's not enough inventory, because you have all those people who refinanced. It's about 65% of people who refinance and are at that 3% rate. Now, what is it going to take for them to sell their place and pay 6% or 6.5%? So
I'm one of those, and I'm telling you right now, I'm not moving. But you know, it's like life event, right? Relocation.
Event. They're moving to Miami, something like that. So it's one of those things. So inventory is going to be low, but you have so many buyers. So I think 2025 is going to be really, really crazy.
Where are your buyers coming from?
Relocation. There's people moving to Chicago. A lot of the buyers are moving back from the suburbs because they moved out there for COVID. And that, as I had mentioned earlier, you know, they didn't know that they were going to need to come back to the city. They'll have to go back to work 4 or 5 days a week, and that they'd have a 2-hour commute. So I'm seeing a lot of that. And empty nesters. All their kids are grown up. Now they want to live life again, be by all the restaurants and the nightlife, and, you know, so those are my buyers.
Interesting. Well, I know you have a flight to catch.
I do.
Well, good catching up with you. So nice to show you my city.
You need to come to mine so I can show
time.
you mine. Yeah.
I'm going to wait until July when it's a bit more warm.
I highly advise that.
Yes.
Cheers.
Cheers.